Hi everyone, I'm Amy Thompson, Principal Analyst at Signify Research, joined here today by my colleague Vlad, Senior Analyst of our Digital Health team, and we have actually just gotten back from Vegas after attending HIMSS last week. And what we're going to do today is briefly talk you through some of our key findings from the show. So Vlad, I'll turn it to you first, leading our Digital Health team and services and kind of leading all those conversations. What were your main takeaways from the show?
No, absolutely, yeah. And I think this HIMSS was quite similar in essence to the previous HIMSS we've been at. The sort of two main topics that keep popping up is AI and interoperability. However, the angle where they're coming in is slightly different. So, first of all, looking at the AI conversations I've been having, in HIMSS 2025, it was a lot more focused, hey, here's an AI product, let's implement it. There was a pressure on providers from the C-suite to just implement AI because it was the hot topic and hype. Whereas now the conversations are a lot more, well, what is the ROI? How do we actually do it strategically? Do we need to implement all of the use cases, or can we focus on the most significant ones? And that's what we're seeing in the industry. On the point of AI as well, another issue that keeps appearing for providers trying to deal with many different vendors, as you can see on the show floor, is price transparency. Who is going to be a better partner for you 3 years from now? Because depending on how you decide to implement a solution, whether it's going to be per unit metric or perhaps per FTE employee, etc., it's going to have a significant implication on how the solution scales throughout the time. From the interoperability side, a lot of the conversations were still very much similar in relation to 2025, where there still was the post new administration coming into play. People were unsure whether HIMSS and TEFCA is going to be a thing. There was, some speculation it may not. Throughout the last year, we have seen that the organization and the government are doubling down on that approach. But another new facet that's been really talked about in my conversations, at least, is this provider-payer clinical data exchange, which hasn't necessarily been addressed as much in the past. Well, it has, of course, but now organizations are thinking a lot more about, well, how do we actually do it? Payers are now being brought onto TEFCA conversations, so hopefully we'll see some momentum going into that way. I want to pass the same question back to you. Being the leader of imaging IT and radiology informatics here at Signify Research, you've been having different conversations. What have been some of the most impactful themes you've discovered throughout?
Yeah, and I think that's what's great about HIMSS is, whilst I have a leanings towards specialty and imaging, the conversations were broadening out to the ecosystem, actually touching on digital health and that broader interoperability. How do you leverage the data across the enterprise in a more kind of data federation, data platform approach, taking advantage of RCM, HIE, EHR data alongside the imaging data? And how do you empower an organization, whether or not that's in analytics, operational efficiencies, and so forth? So there's been great discussions from across the ecosystems, from your imaging vendors, your big tech digital health vendors, all trying to address the same question around optimizing and creating that data layer, and therefore the technology and applications that can feed into that. So I think the next few years will be really interesting to understand how and see these different layers and how that's all created, and how these different companies that are aiming towards kind of very similar and overlapping goals really start to work together and converge, and who ultimately will create and own that data layer kind of in the 3 to 5 years, for example. So really exciting times ahead, I think, in both our markets, and we're seeing where these kind of different vendors shape up. But in terms of this video, that's what we've got time for today. Thank you for your time. If there is any questions that you have from the show or want to delve into anything that Vlad and I have spoken about today, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. We'd be happy to chat.